Which Super Bowl participant has more concerns, Gilbert? The Chiefs or the Eagles after week one overreaction?
Yeah, when you see the Eagles reloading and just making trade after trade like it's a fantasy football league, then they're gonna be fine. They're gonna have a lot of talent, and they see a weakness and try to solve it. With the Chiefs, they're not as aggressive, but like you are really banged up at the skill position. You're still waiting for Rashee Rice to come back. Your guy Kelsey, injured Xavier Worthy, which I'm pissed off about because he's on my fantasy team, and I got a big fat zero playing Victor in fantasy football. But whatever, Travis Kelsey, congrats on the engagement. But it kind of seems like the same Chiefs stagnant offense of the last few years where they're like just kind of, zombie walk into the playoffs and then hope for the best in the playoffs. But can they keep getting away with that method? I don't think so after what we saw from the AFC West around the league in week one. So I have more concerns for the Chiefs where, in previous years, I think Mahomes could hold it down, but they're really banged up at the skill positions.
Fernando?
I have to go with Kansas City as well. Usually it'd be cool if you my bad, I'm not frozen.
Yeah. No, I mean it makes sense.
No, you know what?
Secondary.
You know what?
Yeah.
I will go with the Eagles. The Eagles. Why? I don't like their secondary this year. I thought their guys kind of got picked apart a little bit by Dak. Their pass rush isn't what it was. They've lost a lot of defensive line players, and their defense just looked like if I'm gonna be honest, if the Lightning doesn't hit, I don't know if Dallas doesn't come away winning that game.
No pun intended in that game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So I think that's why the Eagles are going out and retooling. Man, I'm telling you, I think two teams are going to make big trades before the trade deadline happens, and it is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Buffalo Bills. I think both of them are going to make a big move to bring in a player to help them on their defenses. So I definitely can see both of those teams making big moves because they both need it on their defense. I didn't like what I saw from Philly's defense. I know they came out with the big plays, but no, Jorge, I think that train has sailed. I think Kansas City and Tyreek are too toxic for each other, and with the stuff that came out,
every team should call the Dolphins because they
blown up. But hold on, with all the story that came out today with Tyreek's ex-wife, which he's been saying, I don't know if I would. I don't know if that ship. My bad, Jorge. I don't think anybody wants to. That ship has sailed. I don't think anybody wants to. I'd wonder if they would want to touch Tyreek. So I'll go with the Eagles on this one.
Yeah, I think both teams have some concerns, and I think the bigger concern here is the Chiefs, just in terms of you didn't spend a lot of money on your receivers, and then you look at how they got beat by the Chargers too defensively. And then you have a lot of bickering going on with Chris Jones not doing his job there.
Well, no, and then there was Travis Kelsey bickering with Jawan Taylor.
Yeah. So I think that's something to kind of keep an eye on. All right, Fernando, we're starting.
They're not one trade away from everything being okay.
No.
So slowly but surely that ship is sinking, Jorge. A ship can sink.
I think part of the problem too, Fernando, is that the AFC is much tougher than the NFC. I feel like the Eagles can kind of regroup and kind of get away with some stuff there just because they're in a lesser conference. All right, Fernando, we'll start off with you. Are the Indianapolis Colts good, or are the Miami Dolphins that bad?
The Miami Dolphins are that bad. They're terrible. They're horrendous. They're asinine. They're ass of 10. They're just ass. It's really bad. And I'm going to kind of point at the Colts. I think the Colts are last year's New Orleans Saints, where they win the first two games by blowing out teams, and and then they're going to come back to down to earth. And I mean, they have some pieces there in Indy and everything, but Tyreek Hill has not had a reception of more than 30 yards since week 1 of last year. That is not good for a guy that people deem as still one of the best receivers in the NFL, one of the fastest. Not just that. Then you look at Tua Tagovailoa, and there was two of his picks where I was like, what are you looking at? The linebacker was crouched, but he was standing right there, and he just isn't what he once what people believed he was. That
For
first
1
year
year.
that Mike McDaniel got there, they were high powered. Waddle gets hurt. Tyreek has all this stuff going on off the field. They're just their offensive line is really bad. Then Darren Waller has a setback, isn't playing. They got rid of Jonnu Smith. It just all around for Miami, it just doesn't look good. That's why I feel bad for Minka. I think Minka is going to get dealt before the trade deadline happens. I think somebody's
Bradley
going
Chubb, Jalen Phillips, they all will get traded.
all those guys are going to get traded, and I believe that they're going to sell, and they're going to fire after the year. The only reason why they won't fire is because Stephen Ross is probably going to be too cheap. But again, let's go back to that year when they scored 70 points. I did not believe that everybody was crowning Miami. They're going to the Super Bowl. They're this team. And then they come back down to earth and fall flat on their faces. So I just think Miami is very, very bad. Achin could get dealt too. Hell, if they really feel like there's nothing going on. But I really feel like the Miami Dolphins are headed for a really bad time moving forward. And they paid Tua Tagovailoa last year, so now they're in a sense stuck with him for the next 4 years. So, I think Miami is just that bad.
Gilbert, do you have anything to add here, or do you want to?
Yeah, I just want to keep talking on the Dolphins. The Dolphins are like that super senior in high school that peaked. They're like, yeah, they were good in that 70-20 game in September of 2023. I lost track. They peaked way too early. They stink. And Mike McDaniel will probably get fired. They quit on him. And also, I know Ryan Clark already has taken a shot at Tua Tagovailoa, but maybe Ryan Clark should talk more about Tua, saying that he's not clutch. He hasn't, I don't know what the hell he's done in his career. What, beat the Chargers in week 1, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? That's it. They got to cut that guy. He's not good.
That was the game where they had Khalil Mack in the slot against Tyreek Hill on the first play of the game.
Yeah. You know what Mike McDaniel's coaching career is starting to remind me of is Chip Kelly's career with the Eagles. It's kind of like where, I think the players are out on him.
This is pretty good. Well, you heard Jalen Ramsey and him got into it right before he traded him. So they're completely out on everything that is him, which I feel bad because Frank Smith, friend of the show, is down there having to go through that. So
I'm surprised he's not a head coach yet, but I think Frank Smith.
Well, I mean, with what just is happening right now.
Get out of here.
All right, guys. We got Bengals or Broncos. Who had the most concerning week 1 performance?
Definitely the Broncos. The Bengals, this is what they do. They have bad defense and they have so-so offense in September. They're gonna find a way to get 8-9 wins, maybe, and that's kind of like who they are, and maybe they do better. But with the Broncos, what happened to all Super Bowl hype? What happened to Bo Nix being the next, star quarterback? What happened to Sean Payton saying that Bo Nix is gonna find that superstar status? And he wasn't good. And I just don't. I'm not saying Bo Nix can't ever become like a star quarterback, but to say the words like superstar, he hasn't proven himself. And then the other part too is this Broncos even this good, but are they that special to carry a young quarterback still trying to find his way in the league? It's obvious he still has a lot of room to grow and he has a lot to learn in the league. But a lot of times with these very good defenses that have so-so quarterbacks, they just get stuck in mediocre land. They're one and done. Maybe they win one playoff game like the Texans have a couple years, and that's about it. But to crown this team to go to a Super Bowl and be a real contender, that was so premature. Let's see what Bo Nix could do. And so far, he couldn't do anything against the Tennessee Titans of all teams.
Fernando?
Quick, right? Oh,
my God. That was pretty good. By the way, Broncos at Colts next Sunday. I completely agree with Gilbert. I think the Broncos, there was 4 or 5 drops from Titans receivers where they could have helped Cam out a lot more than what they did. Cam stood in the pocket. He took the beating. He did everything that he needed to do, but it just didn't materialize. I thought it was a good showing by him. He didn't turn the football over. So I actually thought that was a pretty good showing by him. Again, there's some reservations I still have on the Broncos. Bo Nix didn't look good at all. He didn't look special at all. And they were missing L'Jarius Sneed, who I have yet to see wear a Titans uniform.
Forgot about that.
I know that they say that he is employed and paid by them, but I have not seen him where a I've not seen him
Their
play
money
a game
laundering through his contract or something.
exactly. But yeah, I agree with Gilbert 1000%. I still need to see a lot more from the Broncos. I see a lot like that RJ Harvey big run. That 57 yarders basically would put the game away. If it wasn't for that, who knows what would have happened? But they kept it close the whole game. There wasn't a point where you said, "Okay, Denver's going to take control of this game." So yeah, there's Denver's going to Indianapolis next week, and that's going to be a very tough game.